Ajay sir,
Yes,
should we
Dr.
start?
Anmol.
Should we start?
Yes, I think we can.
People will join consequently. So I will just start.
Just one question. When I'm
Ha,
sharing the screen,
ha.
is there on Meet, is there a need for me to share the sound, the computer sound, if I want to play some video or something?
Yes sir.
So how do I do that?
Uh, okay. I will. I mean, how will you be doing that? I mean, the video is stored on your device, or you will be playing it online.
Yeah, I'll be playing it online through this thing. I'm just wanting it's stored on my device it on in the PPT. So I want to understand that how do I share the computer sound?
Okay.
Okay, fine. You complete it, and then I think I'll figure out once I'm
Yeah,
sharing my screen.
we'll figure it out, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so good morning, one and all, and welcome to the fifth day, which is the last day of this Atal FDP on design thinking, practical perspective on decision making education. So, today I'm very happy to introduce you all with our guest speaker, Mr. Ajay Agarwal. His topic is developing and testing prototypes. So, he is a founding partner of Human Design and Innovation Consulting. He has founded design thinking and innovation practice at KPMG India. He has over 16 years of industry experience in manufacturing, FMCG, IT, education, consulting, etc. He has demonstrated a tangible impact design thinking can have across all business functions. He has strong voice on social media and frequently writes thought leaderships, point of views, and blogs to bring awareness on design thinking in India. So I'm sure that his expertise and experience which he has and as an entrepreneur, so we all will be privileged to know about his experience and know-hows about the design thinking according to his point of view, his lookout. So without wasting time, I would invite and request Mr. Ajay Agarwal to start his session. So I'll just stop sharing.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Anmol. Dr. Anmol, uh, for the kind introduction and good morning, everyone. Before we start, if I can just quickly know on the chat, how are you feeling this morning? So each one of you, if you can somehow write one word on the chat for me to understand how are you feeling this morning by the time I figure out my sharing screen and everything.
Yeah, so I appeal all participants to be interactive.
Okay, so I see Sampath very good and happy. Good one, Sampath. Rasika is feeling fresh. Good one. Tejas enthusiastic and fresh. Good, great, and enthusiastic. This is making my task a bit more easier. Okay, just 1 second. Yes, Chaya says she's feeling fresh. Madan says, good morning, new day. Yes, energetic, good, sir. Happy and energetic. Good one. I think happy to see that there are happy faces and in the morning and all excited to learn. I'm sure the last 4 days have been great knowledge and great fun. Today, I'm just going to extend the fun to you guys a bit more, and we're going to do some live proto and testing here itself. So that's what I'm planning to make you go through. So good one. Thank you for the kind reaction. Let's start our session. Just give me a yes if you can see my screen. Can you see? Can my is my screen visible?
Yes, sir. Your screen is visible.
Super. I
Before
think.
starting, if you want, we can test whether.
Okay, just tell me if this audio is audible.
No, sir.
Not. Okay, how do I share the video? How do I share the audio?
Just
I
a
think,
minute.
sir, you just download it and you play online, if possible.
No, when Dr. Amol was sharing the
I
screen
was
opening
I was
usage.
presenting it online, sir, through office.com online version.
Okay, just hold on. There should be a way to share it, right? Just
Yeah, I will just figure it out. Meanwhile, if someone from participants know about this, can help us to figure it out.
just 1 second.
I think sir can use Google slides, right? Google slides, and maybe he could you use the Google slides to present the screen. If we could upload the PPT to Drive and then share using Google Slides. But again, all the audio and video files need to be uploaded as well, so it will play.
I think I just searched on Google. It says that it it will automatically by default it shares. Okay, done. Let's try it once again. Otherwise, we'll find out some other way.
Sir, just check the volume of the Amol, sir,
Ah,
the volume level, because automatically actually it should play along with
yeah.
audio.
Okay, I'll just play it once again. Just see if it's now audible.
No, no, sir.
No.
No.
Please, can I help you out?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
I just searched on Google how to play audio file in Google Meet. So what these people are saying is, once you are presenting to everyone using Google Meets, click on settings, three vertical dots in your Google Meet.
Okay.
And in the bottom, they may be in the bottom right corner. And under the audio tab, you have to just change your default microphone to stereo mix. You can take a time, sir. Please go through these steps.
Switch from microphone to speaker, I think, I hope.
Microphone to stereo
Speaker,
mix.
yeah.
Yeah, speaker.
So default microphone, I shift to. So there are two tabs in the audio. One is audio, one is microphone, and the other one is speaker. So which one do I shift?
Microphone to stereo mix, they are saying, and then hit the play. So it may be speaker then if you get only two options.
Okay, let me try. I've shifted
Yeah,
something.
please try. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
tell me. Hold on. You're just presenting my screen and share. Just tell me if it is now audible.
Sir, slideshow में कर दीजिए. Slideshow.
Okay, just hold on.
No.
Don't consider
No,
it
no.
like a normal fever and don't take it lightly. Very simple thing, don't take it lightly.
Okay. So let me again try it. Give me 5 minutes, guys. Sorry, I think it's delaying a bit. Just let
Yes,
me
sir.
sort this out.
We have that option, sir. If you have Microsoft login credentials, then you can upload this PPT in your online office.com and then present. That way I had done.
Is it coming now?
No.
Sir, I have shared the steps on the chat box. You need to do something with your OS also. Please go through it if possible.
Wait, I'm just searching for these on YouTube, and I'll play through YouTube. If YouTube video will play, right?
Yeah, yes, you can always.
Yes, sir. In that case, you have to share your Chrome tab.
No, sir, not necessary. He can just present a tab. That's it.
Got it. Just 1 second. I'm just putting the videos together on YouTube, and then will play it through YouTube only then. Okay, I think it's sorted. I have put everything on video on the YouTube thing. So once I think I'll come to those slides, I'll share uh, my tab. By then I'll share this thing. Okay, just 1 second. Is my screen visible now?
Yes, sir.
Cool. I think, sorry for the interjection at the start itself. Yes, technology plays crazy sometimes. So we will start a session now. So welcome to session 1. I'm there for you. I'm there with you for the next almost 3.5 hours in this session and the next session as well, which is around business modeling and some bit of number crunching that we will do there. But this session is all about prototyping and testing, and typically a stage when post you have your solutions thought, your creative ideas have been thought, and you want to now bring them to life, is when prototyping and testing stage starts. So a disclaimer, this is a disclaimer for both my sessions. So for the next session also take this disclaimer. So the session is fast-paced by design. Tighten your seatbelts to experience it. You will feel that there's less time for each activity that we do, but it's by design, because I think in design thinking, in design, we talk about try fast to fail fast to succeed sooner. So we will try fast and we will try things in time-bound ways. Great. And I'll have a few questions for all of you. So I would want you to answer those questions so that we can try and understand your perspective around the various aspects of prototyping and testing itself. Okay, so the agenda for the day, 3 things that we will look at: understand prototyping itself, and we will make some live protos. Second is testing prototypes. We will understand some ways to test protos, to test design protos. I'm sure all of you are aware of testing, but we will look at how do you test design protos. And the third part that we will look at is a way to help after you've tested your proto and you figured out certain things. How do you prioritize your product or your solution, that whatever you're trying to build into an MVP? An MVP stands for a minimum viable product, which is the first version that you would want your users to actually experience once you're launching. So we'll discuss more on MVP as well. Okay, so I think my first question to all of you: what do you think is a prototype? Your point of view. Type in the chat. What do you think is a proto? Yes, let me see if I can see the chat. How do I see the chat now? That's here. Yes. What do you think is a proto? First model, that's what Archana says. Okay, good one, Archana. Let's try and see what others have to say. No one else? No other perspectives? Imitation. Okay, that's what Manisha says. First model, Anup says that. Yes. Anyone else with any other thoughts? A working model, good one, Dipti. A working model is a proto. No one for POC, proof of concept. Okay, some interesting perspectives, guys. Just primitive. Okay, good one, Jyoti. Guys, again, there's no right or wrong answer to any question that I ask. It's your point of view. Being design thinkers, being design thinking practitioners moving forward, and being design thinking evangelists to all the students that you will be teaching design thinking, or you'll be practicing with them. I think you should have your unique point of view on things. So do share them. Doesn't matter whether. So we will kind of understand it, but do share your point of views and keep sharing them. Okay, cool. So I think let's understand what a prototype is when we talk about design thinking in the world of design. What is a prototype, right? There are various ways, or there are various ways that you look at a proto. Some people will say it's a working model. Some people will say it's a POC. POC stands for proof of concept. Some people will say MVP is a proto, but no. I think proto is anything that can give a near to real feel to a customer or to a user. I'll again repeat, anything that can give a near to real feel to a user, rough enough that we can throw it away, fast enough that we don't get emotional with it, and detailed enough that our user is able to experience it. Okay, I'll again repeat it. So three or four keywords that you need to kind of understand. First is near to real feel. Okay, so it's near to real feel, not real feel. Okay, rough enough that we can throw it away, fast enough that we don't get emotional with it, and third, detailed enough that our user can experience it and give us feedback. Remember this. Why am I saying this? A lot of times I've seen this happening, that the biggest failure point in design or in innovation or in anything that you're trying to invent or innovate on is that once you build something, you've kind of spent too much time and you made a lot of effort, and you've gone back to the customer saying that this is what I've built for you, and the customer says it doesn't work. It becomes emotionally, physically, and monetarily, it becomes very difficult for us to go back and redo things, right? So the purpose of a proto is to fail. You will fail, but we will fail fast to succeed sooner. So what we do is we typically will build a proto. Like, to give you an example, just to show you an example. For everything that we talk, we will see an example. So you just to see, this is a smartwatch, an Apple smartwatch. Okay. Now, the first version of this proto was built like this. Hopefully you're able to see where am I pointing. The first version of this was built like this, from thermocol, from a post-it, and just trying to see that how this entire thing will be, and a paper mat, just trying to see that how this entire thing will be looking like. And eventually it got developed into this. So a simple three-dimensional representation of your idea, be it a product, be it a service. We will look at both the things. Use basic material like pen, paper, cardboard, anything that is available. Keep it rough and fast. Evolve the fidelity over time. So definitely when you say working models, when you say POCs, all these are also forms of proto, but they are very evolved form of protos. What I'm going to talk about today with you guys is that when you're starting your when you from your idea, when you're moving into the cycle of bringing your ideas to life and giving them some shape, how can you build protos for that? Okay, so now ways to build proto, there are many ways to build protos. Okay, many ways, and they're again, depending on the situation, depending on your creativity, you can build a proto. Remember, the principle is near to real feel, rough, fast, and detailed. These are the four principles that we would want to build in our proto. Now, to give you one more example, this became a medical product which was used for scanning within the mouth. The first prototype of this product was built like this, with a clip, with a box, and a glue stick. Now, later on, it got evolved and it became this. These are VR sets. We all understand. We all know. So this is how protos are built. So a paper model, clay model, verbal announcement, storyboard, a blueprint, digital mock-up, layout, gamification of things, tell a story, infographics, advertisements, and many more. So there are various ways to build a proto. Remember the principle, and accordingly you can start experimenting on. You can make your students experiment with whatever solution that they're trying to build. Make them do it fast, rough, and test at this level itself. So that a lot of times when you start evolving their solutions, the advantage of this approach is when you start evolving your solutions, the feedbacks that you get, they kind of either validate or question a lot of assumptions that we have made, a lot of hypotheses that we have made while designing the entire product or service that we are trying to design. Now, with this, I will just show you some examples, and then we will get into doing some live prototyping. Okay, so just hold on. I am moving on to the YouTube videos. Okay, can you see the YouTube screen right now, all of you? If someone can give me a confirmation.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, and hopefully you're able to hear the sound also now. Is it audible? Is the sound audible?
Yes, sir. It is audible.
So this basically is a game. So these were designers who were given an assignment to design a game for iOS, which is Monster Maker, right? And just see how the designers, they had to go and present the entire concept that they had designed. Just see how they have presented it. This is what they had presented to the customer. Okay, just see this, how they have done it.
So now sound is not audible actually.
Not audible.
Your voice is audible, sir.
No, the voice of the video was not audible. Or what?
No, sir.
Okay, then I think
So while sharing, you can choose that
Share.
option or tab, and
okay.
there will be a checkbox.
Share tab.
Share a tab audio. Once you click on a tab,
Doing it. So this one. Okay,
at the
I'll have to.
bottom there is an checkbox, share tab audio. You just have to tick that.
Okay, now again, I'll play it again for all of you.
Possible dance moves for Monster Maker. So music starts,
Yes, sir. Now it is
and
audible.
I'm the player, so I come in and I touch the monster, and he gives me a special dance move. I go and touch again, and he does a different one. And I can go for as long as I want. It has a few signature moves. And when I've had enough and I'm done dancing, I touch the back button, and it pauses, and the music stops. Monster Maker.
Cool.
Sonic. Come on, Sonic.
Wow.
Okay, so did you understand what did they do here? Yes, anyone who can tell me what did they do here? Did you understand what did they do? So they had to go and present this design to their customer. One way to do it is you take this in a PPT and go and explain it to them. What they simply did is we will do a demo of the design and of what we are trying to build for Monster Maker as a game. The interesting part was that they said we don't want to when we want to do a demo, we don't want to build it and do a demo there. Rather, we would want to test it out right at this stage with very minimal resources, and still getting the customer to get a feel of or a near to real feel of what we are trying to build, so that they can give us feedback at this juncture and we can try and evolve it into a better version when we kind of start building it. So what they simply did was they did a cutout of an iPhone. They demoed it on. They recorded the video with the music and everything, and this video was played in front of the customer. And that's how they demoed their solution. Again, rough, fast, with minimal resources, but still detailed to make the user experience what they are doing. I'm showing you another one. This is from Nordstrom. Nordstrom is a retailer. And it's a retail giant with they have various malls and everything. And in this video, what you will see is how they have built an application to ease out the sunglass. When you say sunglass, I'm talking about the sunglasses that we wear, to ease out the sunglass selection process for the users and for the customers who come and buy sunglasses. So I'm sharing this part of it. Just hold on 1 second. Yes. Hopefully you'll be able to hear the sound for this one also now.
I'm JB Brown, the Nordstrom Innovation Lab Manager, and this is the lab. We work on 1 week experiments Somebody will have an idea and we'll find a way to figure out how to prove if the idea is going to work. And this week, the Innovation Lab is going to be building an iPad app with customer feedback as we go through the week. We wanted to work in the store to make sure that we were getting customer feedback as we worked, so that we were never working on anything that wasn't valued by the customer and only doing things that are delivering value. So we'll be building a feature and testing it until we get to the point where we have something that's good enough that we can just leave the iPad app behind and have this new thing that customers can use.
This is the world's first flash build. It's a flash mob where a software team shows up and builds an application in a surprise location. This is the Nordstrom Innovation Lab, and we're at the flagship store in downtown Seattle. Right now the team is just setting up their equipment to get started. We're going to build an iPad app that helps customers pick the best pair of sunglasses for them. We really don't know what the features are yet. We're going to use customer feedback as we go along throughout the day and the rest of the week in order to build the best thing.
So the next thing we're going to do is a user story map. So we're going to sit here and together outline all the steps the customer would take, and actually even beforehand how they buy sunglasses, like what are the different things that they might do and how that process might change if we have this application. And we'll actually dig into what we have to build in order to support that process.
So now that we've done a card mapping, we're going to do a paper prototype, and this is something that we commonly do in the Innovation Lab. It's a great way to show what we'd like to do in a rough prototype that we can easily throw out, change, alter based on feedback from the customers. I'll continue building individual paper slides, and our user experience specialist, Tel, will bring the prototype to a customer and say, okay, I have this app and this is a paper version. I'd like you to kind of use it like you would normally use an app, and you can press things, interact with them, and then she'll change out the pages based on how the customer uses it. So it's a similar experience to the iPad, only an analog version. So it's day 2, and we have our first working prototype of this app. And how it works is I take my first pair of sunglasses, put it on, take a picture, all right, and then I want to compare it to this other pair I've got right here. Put these on, take another picture. I can just hold these up like this and see which one I like better.
Well, Tel and Kim have been talking to people and doing paper prototypes. We've been coding, building an iPad app. We take a stab at something, we look at the paper prototypes that Kim put together. We might take one at a time. Usually we come to the board and we grab the most important feature and we start implementing it. The really cool thing with this flash build is that we have actual real customers. Just today we delivered 4 or 5 different separate features, and I deliver it, swap the iPad with Tel. She'd go and talk to a customer, and 10 minutes later I had feedback from real customers about this thing that I delivered, and it changed how we did the next thing.
And it's been really, really great watching day to day what they've been doing, the team, to get all the feedback from the salespeople, the feedback the salespeople have gathered from the customers. And it's a really interesting process to kind of come in. On Tuesday, we had no idea what this would look like. There was an idea that somebody had to say, people take a lot of pictures of themselves with the sunglasses. It'd be cool if we could show them side by side to help them make the process better. And that was the idea, that was it. They came in, they had nothing built, and they've been building this literally on the spot throughout each day. And by now, we actually have an app, a functioning app that they can go through. It's very intuitive to help look at themselves and make the sunglass selection process easier, which is pretty cool to watch.
So yesterday the sunglass buyer for Nordstrom came down to check out our progress, and she happened to put on polarized glasses and then held up the iPad in portrait view and was surprised that she couldn't see anything because it was black. And we figured out that the polarization of the iPad running up and down and the polarization of the glasses running vertical cancel each other out. You don't see anything. But if you turn the iPad to landscape, you see it perfectly fine because the polarization of the 2 items line up, and it's okay. So it was a pretty good find to be in the store, and she just happened to put on polarized glasses. And so today, first thing we're going to do is switch it to a landscape design and then lock in the aspect ratio of the iPad, so customers and salespeople just naturally pick it up and use it in landscape and not try and go to portrait.
Okay, so I'm going to show you what we've been working on the last 5 days. We've added quite a few features over the week. You take a picture, multiple pictures of the customer, and then you can pull them up. You tap the first one, you can see it larger, and then tap the second, and do a side-by-side comparison of each glass next to each other. We also added a feature where you can rename the picture, because we heard from salespeople, if a customer's trying on quite a lot of glasses, it's helpful to be able to know what order they were taken in and also rename if you want with the brand or some distinguishing feature about the glass. Another feature we added was the ability to zoom. You can zoom in and really get a good detailed look at the frames side by side. Also, you'll see one of the pictures larger if you want to just better view of one frame. You can flip the camera view as well. Face it forward so the salesperson can take a picture of it like this, or you can flip the camera like so. Take a picture yourself facing forward. And then at the end of it all, we have a button called New Customer, which just erases all of the images and allows the salesperson to start with a new customer.
We're just trying to put the final touches on the app. Tel talked to a lot of users, and they said that when we went into the compare view, it was unclear where the pictures were coming from and which picture was which. So the animation here is trying to solve that problem, make it a little more clear what's going on. One of the challenges with software is when are you done, right? And I think the answer is really, it depends on how much time you have. At least the most important things got done. So this was time boxed to a week, and we did a week's worth of work. And it seems like what we have now is something that makes customers happy and addresses the main problems, and something that we can track, we have metrics on. So I think we're gonna call that a day.
The application has developed so far. Everything's finished, everything that we've asked for, and even the little roadblocks and glitches that we kind of stumbled across as we used the app during the week has been solved. I think that it's going to be really easy to be able to implement into our sale, and I think that we're going to find a lot of success with the application, whether it's via a selling tool for us or if it goes public into a downloadable format. Whatever happens, I think this was generally quite a success.
Okay, in this one, interestingly, if you saw, they built this entire application, but the start of it was a paper prototype. They tested the paper prototype itself. They built it, they built the paper protos, they tested it, they got feedback on that itself, and then they evolved the version, and then they moved into actually coding it out, and again, doing testing with the coding, with the coded one also, or with the working model also. But the first proto was something that is rough and fast, which can help them understand at a very early stage whether whatever they're trying to build is conceptually working or not working. Okay, so this one was more of a process and a service getting prototyped. Now let me show you another one, which is, I'm sure all of you will be able to relate. This is a product getting prototyped. It will give you a good view of how even in products you can use. I'm sure everyone relates to products very, very well, but let's see how in a product scenario you can use a proto, same principles getting used. And this is a smart toaster getting proto. Okay, let's see how that is being done. Okay, hopefully you can hear this audio as well.
Do we have a name for it? Toasty, the interactive toaster. Hi, my name is Andrew Brace. I'm a prototyper here at Quirky. We have 3D printers and CNC machines, but whenever we first start to prototype our ideas, we typically use materials as simple as cardboard or paper, things that you'd have at home. It's cheap and easy to be able to get a sense of size and scale and form, and it's just a very approachable material. For the sake of illustrating our prototyping process, we decided to create an interactive toaster. It has a touchscreen that allows you to draw your own design, and it will replicate that design by burning it into your toast. Before you jump straight into it, it's always a good idea to try to sketch out your idea, to figure out roughly the size and shape of it, and also give you an idea of how much material you're going to need and how you might approach cutting and gluing and things like that. We start off with a box, as simple as possible. We cut out our 6 sides, we taped them together, figure out some of the details and the size and scale of the knobs and the screen. After the first model, we had a better idea of what we wanted the final prototype to look like. We were able to use less pieces, which you end up having a more refined looking model because you don't have as many part breaks. In order to achieve these rounded edges, I incorporated a technique called scoring, where you cut just the surface, but not quite all the way through, and that lets you bend the material in various ways. The lever detail on the side of the toaster, the design called for a round knob, and to achieve that in cardboard, we basically cut a series of circles that got smaller as you went towards the outside and stacked them up to build up the 3 dimensions. It's actually really challenging to cut a curved line into a piece of cardboard. Instead of trying to take it all at once, you make several small cuts to round out the edge. The whole purpose of prototyping is to get that idea out of your head and put it into some sort of format that other people understand.
With a little thought and creativity, you can convey any idea to anyone, and it helps you make informed decisions about your refinements later on in the process.
Okay.
Hello. Well,
so I think with this, this is what if you now got a sense of why I'm saying and why is prototyping so important when we're talking about design and when we're talking about innovation as a concept, and when we have to test our assumptions at a very, very early stage. So any questions, anything before we get into doing the activity? Yes, I will just pause here and we will take some questions, and then we will get into doing the activity that we want to do around prototyping. Yes, any questions? Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. Yes. Question.
Yeah, Dipti.
So, does prototyping come in the last stage of design thinking, or usually we start with prototyping and?
No, suppose okay. So if you ask my point of view around this, so there are two ways that you look at design thinking also. Okay, one way of looking at design thinking is you go sequentially and you say that while it'll be messy, it's going to be a lot of iterations and things that are going to happen at every stage, but you still go through all the phases. You will do empathize, you will empathize, you will define, you will ideate, you will prototype, and then you will test, right? If you're going that entire route, then it definitely comes at the, I would say, the second last stage. Before testing, you will build the proto and then you iterate it. I mean, design is if you take design thinking, it's a circular process. It's not a linear process. So you will not be able to define the end of it, right? But sequentially, if you want to understand just to create a visual picture, yes, definitely that happens. The second way of looking at design thinking is what I call is something known as micro practices. When I say micro practices, it means that not necessary that you have to go through the end-to-end cycle. Possible there's an idea that you have, okay, and you want to quickly give it shape and test it out. Simple. Then you start with proto, right? So depending on what situation or what stage you are in of your entire innovation or your entire ideation or your entire design process, you can pick and choose where do you want to start, right? So remember this, never look at design thinking in a sequential way. Look at it as in a set of micro practices that are coming together. And depending on the situation of, or depending at the stage of design that you are in, you can pick and choose saying that I have to start with proto. I don't have to, because I already have an idea and there's something that I have a sense of what will work. Straight away start with prototyping and start testing it. With that, you will get a lot of sense of whether this is going to work or not work, and you can start building your working models after that. Hope that answers your question, Deepti.
Yes, thank you.
Yep. Okay, any other questions? No? Cool. So remember, 4 principles, near to real feel. I'm just keeping it very, very simple for you. Near to real feel. Second, rough enough that it can be thrown away. Third, fast enough that we don't get emotional with it. And fourth is detailed enough that our customers can experience it. 4 principles. For any prototype, any design or innovation prototype to be built, you keep these 4 principles, and there are endless ways of creatively building your proto. So now with this, we will start with an activity. What you have to do is you will totally have 30 minutes, 30 minutes. In those 30 minutes, what you have to do, I'm sure all of you are operating from home, or if you're operating from office as well, it's absolutely fine. You need to pick up basic material. In 30 minutes, your challenge would be the first 7 minutes, or maybe 5 to 10 minutes you spend around collating all the material. And the next 15 to 20 minutes you spend around building your prototype. Now, the challenge that you have, or the design challenge that you have, is with the 4 principles that we talked about around prototyping. What you need to prototype is a robot. Okay, you need to build a robot in 30 minutes from whatever material is available around you. You're going to prototype the material, and then we're going to test that prototype as well. So for that, what you do is do keep a persona in front of you. I'm sure you all understand personas by now from your past 4 days of design thinking sessions that you've been having. If there are any questions on personas, do let me know, but hopefully you have a sense of it. So do have a persona in mind, which can be your child, which can be your colleague, which can be your customer, which can be your students, or which can be your management. Anyone. I mean, do have a persona in mind and build a robot for them. Okay, detail it out, build all the features, anything that you need for the robot. And then we will learn how to test that out also. But for the timing, first of all, do have a persona in mind, collect material from whatever is around you, and in 30 minutes, you have to build a robot, a rough, detailed, and fast robot that you're going to build. Any questions on this, or we can start? No questions? Okay, done. Cool. So I think we will start the. I'll stop sharing my screen because there's nothing that I have to show on the robot part. It's your creativity and your ways of now prototyping things. So use your hands, guys. Quickly, I'm going to time you. We are at 10:17. We are going to stop at 10:47. That's where I need all of you back. So do time yourself. We not have extensions on times here. So 10:47 is when you are back. Collect all your material, think of the persona, and start building a proto. And then we will have some of you show your proto as well and test it out as well. Okay, cool. I think so. I'm just stopping to share my screen, and all of you can get on to work. Start building your protos, guys. And randomly, we'll pick and choose people who will showcase their protos to us.
If you have any doubt, please unmute and ask.
Yeah, because for me, design, unless and until you're not using your hands and you're not working on it, you're not learning design thinking. It's very straight and simple for me. So I believe in design doing. So yes, let's build our protos. Any questions? I'm there here only, so you can always come back and ask. Okay, I'll list the principles. Cool. So near to real field. Second, rough enough. Okay, your time starts now, guys. So you can start. I'm typing down the principles on the chat. By the time you can start thinking of the persona and collecting material for your robot. Okay, I've typed it. And Dr. Amol, if you can play the music by then, I'll just wait till 10:47 and then we will start again.
Hello, sir.
Yes, dear Dr. Amol.
Sir, would you please quickly just give a recap of what has to be done and what is expected if someone has missed?
Sure, I'll just quickly, like not the entire thing what we have gone through till now, but I'll just tell what has to be done. So what we are doing right now is we are building a prototype live here. A prototype, I've just typed the principles of what a design proto is. So design proto is basically that can give a near to real feel to the users, rough enough that it can be thrown away, fast enough that we don't get emotional with it, and detailed enough that our users can experience the key features of our solution that we are trying to build or propose. Now, what we are doing right now is we are in the process of building a proto live here. So in this, what you have to do is build a robot. And how do you need to do it is first think of a persona. Of who are you building this robot for. So it can be your child, it can be your colleague, it can be your management, it can be your student, it can be anyone. So think of a persona and then build a robot from basic material around you. So it can be cardboard, paper, and whatever is around you. So you don't have to get some special material, but build a robot for the persona that you're trying, that you is of focus to you. That's what is the activity. Totally now we are left with 20 minutes because we started at 10:17 and we had 30 minutes. We are left with 20 minutes, so quickly get going for whosoever is just joined and wants to. And we'll randomly select a few to share their persona, to share their robot, and then later on we will try and test some of the robots as well.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Okay.
So
Thanks,
still,
Dr.
participants, any of the participants, if they are having any doubt, please feel free to ask.
Yes, unmute yourself and ask. I'm here only. So I'll help address whatever questions you have. But remember the principles. Once you remember the principles, I think you will definitely have a lot of answers on your own. Okay. So Dr. Mole, I was enjoying the music. You can again start the music. Archana, have you understood the activity or should I repeat it again?
Yeah, I hope participants.
Yes, sir, it's clear, sir.
Okay, done. I think this was to Archana Deshpande. This was to Archana Deshpande. Is this clear, Archana, for you? I think you've asked a question in the chat. So you have to build a robot so think of a persona, build a robot from basic material, rough, fast, and detailed, so that it can give a near to real feel to your persona. Okay. So another 13 minutes left.
So generally we get doubts when we start actually doing it.
You're asking this question.
Yeah, no, I'm just discussing with you. So generally
Yeah.
we get doubts when we actually start doing something, and since we are not getting any doubts or questions from participants.
No, I'll tell you, my experience is a bit different here. A lot of times when you start building it, right, a lot of times you figure out a lot of answers on your own also. Yeah, and because till the time you start using your hands, this is how human psychology works. Till the time you keep thinking, you will get questions. The time you start doing, you will find answers to those questions a lot of times. So, but
Or maybe
anyways,
sometimes we go ahead with the answers which we assume that could be the answer of the question.
yeah, and that's what we validate, or that's what we test out then when we do the user testing. I'm sure all of them are building it, and then we will discuss a few and we will figure out. Okay, Dr. Amol, you can stop the music.
Yes, sir.
Okay, time up, everyone. I'm sure you guys are still busy in putting your protos and doing the final touches. Don't worry. As I said, it's not about finalization. It's about keeping it rough and fast, and trying to figure out with customer feedback that what should your next version or what should the next version of your proto be. In fact, while you were kind of building the proto, I was kind of also reflecting on one of the questions that was asked that when does proto start. In our field, in your field of education, suppose we look at, you are all experts at educating or crafting the future talent and the future workforce of the country. For all of you, the first proto that you build a lot of times is the outline, is the course outline that you build. Right, that's also a proto. So I always take it as that these are life principles. So you always try and proto things before you try and attempt to finalize and give it final shape. So good. I think before we go into testing and I kind of talk about that, I would want to see a few protos and I would want you to share your experiences around the prototype that you have built. So let me choose, or anyone who wants to volunteer, maybe one or two people can volunteer and I'll choose one or two, or maybe two or three randomly as well. Yes, anyone who wants to volunteer? If we can quickly...
yeah, that would be better if the one who has worked on it would come in front and let us all know.
Go ahead, Archana. So if you can show your proto, so you can... so Dr. Amol, they have a choice to put their videos on, right?
Yeah, they can turn on.
So Archana, you can put your video on and
I will
show
share
your
my screen, sir.
Sure.
Can you see, sir?
Yes, it's coming. Yes, it has come.
I just did it in a very fast way, sir. Like I use this Google Jamboard, sir. The persona that I took is a typical housewives, like wherein the children and the husband leave for the work or the school, and then anything they have a doubt or any work they want to carry out, they need some companion to discuss with. So this is a pocket robot, sir. Pocket robot.
Superb. What are the features?
Sir, I have features I'm thinking of, like it has two cameras wherein it can capture the surrounding images, and then there are 4 motors to drive motion for hands and legs, sir. And then it can be programmed to have a local language dialect, because they want to feel that companion, because language is more important, and it's just not English. It can speak some other language which the person would like to hear. So this is a pocket robot where they can carry with them in their purse also, sir. So this is my idea.
Super. So I think you've done it virtually. Would have been great if you would have done it physically, but no worries.
Yes.
Now, Archana, can you also share that while you were doing this entire proto thing, what was your experience and what did you kind of go through while building it or while thinking about it?
Sir, actually, when we start, we think of so many things, but the thing is, there are so many restrictions also. And what we think and what actually it comes out is there is a lot of gaps, sir. There's a lot of gaps. So I think we think about a lot of complexities, sir. That is the thing, but at last we wanted a model as simple as possible, sir. That is my problem, sir.
Good. So I'll tell you what you're saying. A lot of times prototypes helps you declutter your mind. A lot of till the time you're in the ideation stage, you're thinking about 1,000 features that you want to put in. As soon as you get into prototypes, you remember, I'm sure you would have got exposed to the desirability, feasibility, viability framework of design that design thinking uses. As soon as you get into prototyping, automatically your mind starts working towards feasibility. kya feasible hai? What is feasible in this? Let's try and build that first. That's number one. Second, that you would have okay. Before I share a few more things. Anyone else who wants to kind of volunteer and share their prototype that they've created? Thank you, Archana, for sharing your prototype. Yes. Anyone else? Come on, guys. I'm sure you guys would have built some protos. Deepti, you want to share?
Yes, sir. I'll share the screenshot of like I've drawn it on the paper.
Super. No worries. Whatever ways you've done it, I'll be happy.
I'll share the screenshot in the chat.
Sure. And then can you talk about your experience of building a proto?
So my prototype was on robot for language learning. So I was planning to have a use agent, a learning agent that can talk to the learner, and whichever language the learner wants to learn, the agent will speak out some words and the learner can repeat it.
Oh, great.
So based on the learning speed, the agent will increase the complexity of from words to simple sentences, then to complex sentences. That way, interaction will go on between the learning agent and the learner. So that was my basic idea. So obviously, when I was going through this activity, I was more thinking about how learner will be interacting, or from learner point of view, I was thinking more than from the system point of view. So that helped me in like maybe in design process.
Super. So I'll be excited to see the screenshot. So you do share it.
Yes.
By the time we'll move to someone else who wants to share.
Participants, please.
Otherwise, I'll randomly choose a few. Okay, let me see if I want someone. Suhas, and I'm randomly choosing, guys. Suhas, you want to share? Suhas, you there? Okay. I think Suhas is angry on me. He doesn't want to talk to me. No worries, Suhas. Let me try and see if I can talk to someone else. Shivangi. Okay.
So someone who has attempted, tried, or completed, please come ahead and discuss.
Sir, I would like to share my perspective.
Done. Thanks, Anup. Yes, please show.
Can you show me? Can you see my camera?
Yes.
Okay. So can you see this particular design?
Yes.
Actually, I don't have the things with me. That's why I didn't make that particular prototype. So
no worries.
I have designed this particular robot. So I have designed this robot for my daughter, right? And she wants to play with someone, okay? And sometimes it may happen, okay? There will not be any children to play. So my daughter want to play with the person like a robot, okay? And with the help of this particular robot, she will be able to get the various things like what we can say. If she wants to get some idea about something, okay? Now this particular robot is friend one, okay? He knows the number of languages, okay? And along with this, this particular robot also aware about the surroundings, because we already trained this particular robot, okay, with the help of some algorithm, we can say. And if she is approaching, she's approaching to a particular objective which is harmful to her, okay, then automatically this particular robo will go there and intervene in between that particular activity. Like this, we can check this particular robot.
Super. I think thanks Anup for sharing. So good. I think I'm happy to see whosoever wanted to share their design and their prototype with me. Happy to kind of see the protos. Interestingly, I'll tell you one more thing. So again, this is a part of how human mind works. as soon as you start creating shapes, one, decluttering of mind. Second, you start getting a lot of ideas, because now it's not only your mind thinking, it's your hands and your entire body starts thinking. So remember, not only with respect to design thinking or with respect to a design project, follow this principle of prototyping. As I always say, micro practices. Follow this principle of prototyping in your day-to-day life also. Before you get into making things perfect and finalizing things, get into rough proto and learn from those protos, because they will really help you to evolve to a level wherein you can say that this is what my customer needs and this is what will finally work for them. Great. So I'm not kind of asking for more people to share. If you feel like sharing, do ping and I will then create a space for you to share. We'll progress. So we're going to now talk about how do you test your protos. So that's the stage that we will go into. So I'm just sharing my screen once again so that we can go through the testing cycle. So great. So we have already built a proto now. So we have a sense of what are we trying to, what's there in our mind, what we have kind of researched and about the user, the persona, and from that we have tried to ideate something and try to create some shape. So we now have an understanding of what we are wanting to build, and we are in a stage when we want to go and test it out. We want to showcase it, right? So before we go there, let me ask you a question. Why do we test protos? Yes, anyone who wants to share their perspective around why do we test protos? Anyone who wants to share their perspective on why do we test protos? Are protos tested for validation?
Yes. So during this testing, we'll come to know what are the drawbacks of this particular prototype and how we can improve that particular drawback.
Great. Anyone else who has any other thoughts?
To check whether they are adhering to the principles which you have thought earlier.
Okay. To test the effectiveness of the functionality, to understand behavior. Okay. Yes. Anyone else? I'll just see on the chat. I think there will be more. To understand behavior. Okay, cool. So I think there are various reasons. So number one, I would just want to touch upon this one thing. There are a lot of times we go to test to defend. We go with the mindset that we want to go and test our proto, and whatever we have built, the user should be liking it. No, testing is done to learn. Remember, the purpose of testing is to learn. And I'm happy with the answers that you gave, that one, it is not about validation, it's about learning. So we go with the mindset of that we want to learn from the users on the concept that we are trying to build, that whether they are able to relate to our concept, and what is that this needs to be changed, or what is that they're liking, what is delighting them, what is kind of hindering their experience, so that we can learn from that and come out with the next version of it, depending on what learnings we have taken from there. Now, so the approach to prototyping, there are 4 stages, approach to testing. There are 4 stages of testing that you go through. Now, depending on the situation, these things might change, but broadly these stages will remain same, or the context will change, but broadly these stages will remain same. 4 stages: you define the goals of your testing, plan for the test, conduct the testing, and record the insights that you're getting from the testing. So define the goals. What are we testing for? Someone said functionality. At this stage, we're not testing for functionality because we've not even reached that stage. We might do concept testing. We might do feature testing. We might do usability testing, or we might do functionality testing, depending on the situation that we are in. But what are we testing for? And having that clarity in our mind that this is what we want to go and test from the user, or this is what we want to go and understand from the user, learn from the user. The second part is plan for testing. In this, what we look at is who are the users whom we want to go and test with. Are these the people whom we went and did our empathy study? Or are these the people who are from our persona segment? Or are these people who are from a different segment altogether, but we want to still go and test because it might give us a very different experience altogether. Like in design, we also call something known as universal design, or we call it as inclusive design, wherein we talk about that whatever designs we create, we also want them to be easily used by a few extreme users. To take an example, visually impaired users, and also we do look at, while a persona might be different, but we do want to test with a few other set of users as well, because they will give us different set of insights. So who are the users? What is the test setting? What setting do we want to test our solution in? Is it the user's environment that we want to go and test our solution in, or is it it can be tested in any other environment? So think of the test setting. The third part, the testing method. So what testing method are we going to use? I'm going to talk about some of the testing methods in the next slide, so I'm not covering it in detail here. So what is the testing method? And the fourth part that we look at is, for conducting that testing, what kind of material and logistics will we require? What kind of what would we need to conduct it effectively? The third part, when the third stage, when the testing is being done, when the user is actually using your solution, or you are testing your solution with the user. Again, the things that you as a designer need to do, or you as a designer who needs to kind of focus on. I'm sure you went through this during the empathy stage, which is around observe, engage, and immerse, which is about observe the user. A lot of times, user will not be able to tell you that I'm facing this problem, but when the user is experiencing your solution or your product, whatever challenges they are going, wherever they're getting stuck, observe the user. Second, engage with the user, which is about, you see something interesting happening and you want to kind of understand it a bit deeper. Ask questions, which is around why questions, how questions, show me again questions. So these kind of questions you ask the user to dig deeper into what did the user face when he was getting stuck, or when he was feeling delighted. When you saw an expression on his face that he was happy about something, what delighted him? All those kind of questions, which is around engage. And the third part is immerse. Immerse is around when you immerse yourself into the user's shoe at this stage also, wherein the user is facing a difficulty. You saw that, you observed that, you engage with them also. Try and use it yourself also. You will see a completely different viewpoint from the user's perspective on why was the user stuck, which you would have initially not thought about when you were building the proto, or when you were thinking of the idea. So while conducting the testing, while the test is being conducted, observe, engage, immerse. And the fourth part, which is once your testing is done, what you look at is record the test insights. And I'll tell you a method or a tool for that as well, but record test insights. And the second part that you look at is, if possible, by permission, with permission, if you can test, if you can record the entire testing session itself through a video, or so that you can, again, the purpose of this recording is so that you can reflect on what happened during the test journey, and later on you can take insights and references. But if that is not possible, do record the test insights right after the testing session on whatever you observed, engaged, and immersed with, and what did you figure out there. Okay, so broadly 4 stages. Define the goal for your testing. What are you testing for? Plan the test. So who are the users whom you're going to test with? The test setting, the test environment, the testing method that you're going to use, and the material and logistics that you will require to conduct the testing effectively. Conduct the testing, so you observe, engage, and immerse while the testing is being conducted, and record insights. And the underlying principle, as I told you, and I'll keep harping upon this, that you don't test for defending your idea. You test for learning. So the mindset of empathy, again, having empathy with the user to understand what they are going through, why are they facing a difficulty with that particular proto? Is the proto helping them solve their life challenge or whatever challenge you're wanting to solve? Learning that part of it is more important than about making your design successful at this stage itself. It might not, and that's why I said it's about try fast, or it's about building it rough and fast, so that if it is not working for us, fine, we'll throw it out. Right? But it's a good way to learn from the users and get ideas from the users, so that we can evolve it into a better version the next stage. Okay, now I'm going to talk about the testing methods. So there are 4 methods. So there are many more methods that you can use, but we're going to talk about 4 methods today. So and depending on the purpose of why are you wanting to test, you can pick and choose about these methods. So the first thing is concept testing, which is about whatever concept I'm trying to build. Okay, is my user able to even relate with that concept or no? Like, to take an example, suppose I said that suppose one of the protos that someone was building was a companion for the housewife, right? Which is a robot that someone built, right? Now, a great concept for us to think about it, right? But when you go to a housewife and at this stage you want to do concept testing, you want to take this concept to a housewife and try and understand from them that are they even able to relate with this concept, or they say that, nay, why I don't want a robot to be my companion. I still want to be, I want a human to be my companion. So that gives us, it doesn't mean that our concept is bad, but the insight that we get from here is, can we humanize the robot a bit more, even if it's a robot, but can we humanize the robot? So it kind of we still bringing in, it gives us ideas around what is the user looking out, and if they're not relating with the concept, what will make them relate to the concept there. So that's concept testing. The second kind of testing that you can do, typically great when you are having, so this is A/B testing. I'm sure you're kind of aware of it, but let me explain. Typically, when you have multiple protos built or multiple versions of the protos built, so you build two robots, right? One robot that is talking in multiple languages, or depending on the language that the user is speaking, they change their language, because the user also has multiple dialects that they might be speaking in, right? So they change their, and the other one is a standard one, which talks in the local language that is there. So now these are two versions. This is A and B. You do A/B testing to try and understand that which version of the proto is the user relating more to, or which features in a particular version are kind of more valuable, or they're relating to it more. This helps you understand that what is the user's direction of thinking, which gives you a direction towards what should I be thinking about when I'm building the next version, or which direction should I be going in. Typically helps you take a decision between the various versions that you're trying to think about. At the ideation stage, I'm sure you would have understood that they can, when you're clustering and when you're bringing out various ideas, and that at that stage itself, you might have various versions. Now it helps you take a decision on which version to go ahead for. The third testing that we're going to talk about, or the third testing at design stage that I'm going to talk about, is buyer feature testing. Now let me explain what does this mean. So we have thought, like Archana mentioned, that we've thought of a solution, and there are hundreds of features that we have thought of. Right, while building the proto, also we've tried to incorporate, because it's rough and fast, we've tried to incorporate multiple features and displayed it to them. Now, for us, a lot of times it becomes really difficult to put everything, because we want to go to the market fast. We don't want to keep developing it and kind of go through the entire development cycle for a year, and after that, when we launch it after a year, the entire solution is outdated itself. No, what we want to do is we want to put the solution in the market fast. So we want to prioritize our features. We want to say that we would not want to put all the 100 features there. We would want to put the features that are most valuable to our user. Now, a lot of times the challenge is, you go to a user and you tell them to rate, give a rating on how valuable a particular feature is for them. It becomes difficult for the user also to rate. So this method kind of helps you give it a more real feel. So what you do typically in this method is, you would you have this toy money, right? So suppose think of 2,000 rupees toy money, 100 rupees, 20, these are toy notes that you have. So what you do is, you give the user 2,000 rupees, or maybe I'm taking 2,000 example, you can give me 20,000 rupees also. Now you give them this money, and what you tell them, you display all the features there, and the question that you ask them is, how much money would you pay for this feature? So you would want to understand from them that how much money are they attaching to a particular feature, which helps you understand that what is the value that they're attaching to it. Because when human mind starts thinking about money, it's not only about the risk goes higher. And when the risk goes higher, while it's still fake money, but it's toy money, but still when you start thinking, attaching money to something, there's more seriousness and you start attaching more value to the entire feature or the solution. So you tell them to buy a particular feature and how much money would they pay to buy a particular feature, which helps you as a designer to figure out that out of these 100 features or out of these 25-30 features that I'm thinking of, which are the top 5 features that I need to pick up for my MVP, for my minimum viable product, which will help me to push out the product in the market or to push out the first version or the MVP in the market maybe in the next 1.5 months itself, because I want to push out the product with these 5 features to start with. And later on, I will, in the next versions, in the forthcoming versions, I will try and bring the other features through agility sprints that I'm going to do. I'll bring out the other features also. But this will help me decide on the features that I should put in the first version of it. And the fourth part, if you have built your functionality and everything, and you want to understand how easy or difficult is it for my user to use the product, to use the solution. Usability testing is a way that will help you understand that why is the user able to use the product or service. So in this, what you typically do is you define the tasks that the user needs to perform. I'll show you a video also of this, but it defines the tasks that a user needs to perform. And then you hand over the product to the user and tell them to do those tasks that are defined. And what you do is observe, engage, and immerse. So you will sit there silently, observe what's happening, where are they facing a difficulty. If they tell you to assist them, you assist them, otherwise let them figure out their way. This a lot of times helps you to understand that how intuitive or how easy or difficult is your product to use. And this then helps you to kind of define in the next version, what changes do you want to make your product more usable. Okay, so 4 types of testing. Again, there can be various other goals that you would want to achieve, but these are 4 goals that I have tried to define. One is whether one of the goals is whether my user is able to relate with my concept or no. The other goal is testing between 2 versions. Which one is the user preferring more? The third goal that I've said is which feature is the user valuing more? And the fourth goal that we have tried to look at is how easy or difficult is the product or the solution to use for my user intuitively and independently. So remember the 4 stages. These methods can be used depending on the goal that you want to achieve. You can use one of these methods, or there will be many more methods that you would want to use depending on the goal that you would want to learn from, that you would want to learn for. Now, just to show you an example of how a usability testing is done. So I'm just sharing a tab to show you the video. Just bear with me, hold on. So, okay, here it is. Hopefully you're able to see. So this is an application, a rough proto application being tested to help you understand how usability testing is done.
Okay, so your task now is to open the My EE app.
Okay. Come on there. Cool. Nice. Nice.
And now your task is to register and log in.
Okay.
The next task is to remove the minutes tile from your home screen.
Oh. Oh, that one. Cool.
Well done. Your next task is to place the add £10 top-up tile to your home screen.
Okay, cool. Nice. Absolutely. On top of pricing on the screen. Back.
Well done. Your next task is to rearrange the tiles on your home screen as you see fit.
Yeah, okay. Can I, so let's, I use this all the time, so I want to move that. Can I move it to the top left? And then minutes, allowance, mobile data, yeah, probably. Can I change these around or not? No, just these top ones, okay.
Top one.
Oh,
sorry.
So changes, cool.
Well done, you've completed the task.
Okay, so let me come back to the slides. Okay, so what did you observe? What did you observe in the video? So this what was happening here was a usability testing. They were trying to figure out how intuitive and easy is it for the user to use the application. So there were tasks defined, as I told you. So there are tasks that we define and say that these are the things that we would want to understand the usability for, and we tell the user to use it in front of us. Wherever they need assistance, we will assist them. But in the low fidelity proto itself, we get a sense of where is the user getting stuck, or is the user able to perform those particular tasks. And this gives us an insight around how do we make it more simpler for the user to use our product and solution. Because as humans, whatever is simple for us is what we will use, and whatever is cumbersome and difficult for us is what we will leave. So we want to make it really, really easy for the users to use our solution product. So now I think we will move to understanding on how can you record test insights. So the tool or the method that you can use to record your test insights once you've done the testing, you can use this framework of DIQI, which is DIQI stands for delights, ideas, questions, and improvements. Let me explain to you on how this works. So once you have observed, engaged, and immersed during the testing session, the user might have asked you certain questions. They were certainly delighted about certain things in the solution when they were using, or then in the concept that they were kind of going through. So whatever has delighted them will go under delights. So when you write your insights, that will go under delights. Ideas. There might be certain ideas that the user might have given you, or you might have got when you were doing when the testing was going on and you were seeing the user doing something there. Write those ideas there. So user given ideas, or you might have got those ideas. Is there a question? No, okay. Now the third part is questions. The user might have asked you certain questions during the testing session. So what kind of questions were they asking? What was not clear to them? All of those things you will note down here. And the fourth part that you will note down is any kind of improvements that they've suggested on the existing product, on the existing features itself. Any kind of improvements that they have suggested that can be done, or you would have seen during the journey. The difference between ideas and improvements is ideas can be a completely new feature itself, and improvements can be something that can be changed slightly in the present set of context only, right? So you record your test insights right after the testing session has been done. You note it down in these four segments. Then when you go back to your team, you will decide on the various testing sessions that have happened with various types of users. You will come and bring all of them back together, whatever DIQIs you have made a note of in each of the testing session, and you will start figuring out that what is that the next version of your proto should be having. Now, basis the multiple iterations that you go through. So this is not the only testing that you will do. Once from here, you will kind of go to the next stage when you evolve the fidelity a bit. You bring out some features, you make changes to the proto, and you do the next round of testing. Basis these testing, you will then reach out to a stage wherein you will start defining your MVP, which means the minimum viable product that needs to go out, the minimum viable unit that needs to go out to the user in the first version itself, which will make it usable for them and which will deliver value to the user. Now, a tool that you can use to do your MVP analysis is what you can use is Moscow. Now, let me explain what Moscow stands for. Moscow stands for must have. So what are the features from the testing that we have learned and from what the entire cycle of multiple iterations and testing that we've learned? What are the features and what are the things that are a must have in the product to make it usable and of value to them? The second should have is basically the features that can be there or that should be there, maybe not in the first version, but can be in the immediate next versions that should be there. Could have are delighters, may not be there in the first 2 or 3 versions, but can have in the next version. And certain things that were of pain to the user, which is what won't have, which means that these are the things that should not be there at all. So those features and those things that you were trying to think about as designers will go out of the entire product roadmap itself, or the entire design itself of the solution that you're trying to build. So using Moscow, what you do is, as I said, that we don't want to wait for a year to push down our product into the user's hand. We would want the product to land into the hands of the users, depending on the kind of project of the product that you're working on. But we would want it to go fast to the user. So we will define our MVP. So you can use these various test cycles to also figure out what are the things that the user is really valuing, what should be must have, should have, could have, and won't have. This will really help you to decide your MVP and your product roadmap prioritization moving forward. So just to circle back on what we kind of so we will not do this because I think a lot of you might have not. I would have loved to. I would have loved that if you would have done the. You could do the testing also and with the persona, and you could have done the MVP analysis also. But we will not do it. We'll skip this. So I think what we just to do a recap of what we went through today in the prototyping and testing cycle. So we build protos because it helps us declutter a lot of things that we were thinking about the solution. It helps us judge the feasibility, what is feasible for us to build. Number one. Second, it helps give a near to real feel to the customer, rough, fast, and detailed, so that our customer can experience it and we can learn from our customer at a very low risk that we kind of go with. Because if there's something that doesn't work for the customer, we are happy to throw it out also, because there's not too much time, money, and investment that we have, or time, money, and effort that we have spent into the entire building the proto. And then you go to test. So the second part is testing. In testing, again, remember, there can be various rounds of testing that you go through, but we go to test to learn. We don't go to test to sell our product or to kind of defend what we are trying to build. We go to test with an empathetic mindset again. So 4 stages that we talked about. Goals. What are the test goals? Who are we going to test with? What is the setting that we want to test with? What method that we want to use to make to achieve our test goal, and what logistics and things we would require. Observe, engage, immerse, which is what you will do during testing, and record test insights. And after you've done this multiple iterations of testing, you then go to a stage of defining the MVP. Help your students or help as you as designers also try and figure out that we don't want to push the entire design at once. We would want to do it in phases, and your Moscow analysis helps you to prioritize it, saying that what are must have, what should go in the first version as an MVP, and then what should have and can have or could have kind of comes at the later stages of our product versioning or our product roadmap that we would want to build, the features that we would want to give in it. Great. So I think with this, we come to an end of the prototype and testing session. Any questions I'll be happy to take. But before we go to the questions, I would want to leave you with one quote that I firmly believe in, and we use it a lot of times. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, a prototype is equal to 1,000 presentations. So do get into the habit of prototyping stuff and taking that to your users rather than making PPT presentations or any kind of presentations to them. You will see the effectiveness of user engagement and the user feedback that you get would be way higher than presenting a concept through a normal presentation. Yes, happy to take questions. Any questions? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. Any questions, guys, on prototyping and testing? No, either it is all clear or nothing is clear. That's what I would figure out. Okay, fine. Let's do this. I try to understand from you how are you feeling in the morning. Let's try and understand what are you feeling right now. So on the chat, if you can quickly tell me, or if there's a question, do ask. But on the chat, how are you feeling right now? Clear about prototyping concept. Good. I think thanks, Sakina.
Participants, please be interactive.
Yes, waiting for a few more pings. Else, I think again, prototyping is a lot of your creative bent. So you use your own ways to prototype. Remember the principles. I think you will be reaching the destination that you're wanting to reach. And remember, during testing, do learn rather than defending. Okay, I think if there are no further questions, Dr. Mol, then we can take a break because I think next session is also is around business and economics of design. So we can take a break of maybe 10 minutes if possible, and then we can start.
Yes, sir. Whatever, I mean, whatever
Okay,
you
fine.
say, we'll have that much means.
Yeah, let's take a
10
break
minutes.
of 10 minutes. I think 11:40 is when we should start again. So that I think everyone can also take a bio break and whatever breaks they want to take. And 11:40 we should start again. I'm there here only, so on the session itself, but we'll take a break right now. Okay, and guys,
We'll
you have
have a
any?
break of 10 minutes and we'll join back by 11:40.
And if you have any questions, you can ask me during the next session also. Don't worry. Okay, bye bye.
Thank you, sir.